In this video, we are solving the stored XSS or stored cross-site scripting challenge. Stored cross-site scripting means when I enter something into a website like a comment, the website saves it. So later, when someone else visits that page, whatever I saved will be loaded again. If the website doesn't properly clean the output, it may treat it as code instead of plain text. And that's when JavaScript can run inside the visitor's browser. In simple terms, stored cross site scripting happens when a website saves users' input and then displays it back in a way that allows code to execute. Now, in this lab, there's a security notice that tells us that the comment system has been secured and they block dangerous content containing the word script to prevent cross-site scripting attacks. So the developers think they fixed the problem by blocking a specific word. So our goal is to show that blocking just one keyword is not real protection because there are other ways to make a browser execute code without using that word. So here's what we are doing in this lab. First, I'm going to post a normal comment so I understand how the form works. Then we'll confirm that there's a filter for the word script. After that, we'll check whether the app renders HTML or it safely prints it as text. And then we'll use a non-script method to show stored cross-site scripting, meaning it still runs after a refresh. And remember that the stored part is key. It's not enough for it to just run once. It has to stay in the comments and trigger again when a page reloads. The first thing I'm going to do is to try to post a normal comment. So I'll enter my username as Mame, and my comment would be hello world, like this. Then we post comment. We are redirected to this page. We are supposed to see our comment added to the comment list, but we are redirected to a page that says cannot post challenge 2. So this is not a cross-site scripting problem, it's a routing problem. That means that the form is submitting to an endpoint that doesn't exist on the server. Now, there are two ways to fix this. First, if you pay attention to the URL, you notice that the form is being sent to challenge 2, which is the endpoint that is not existing on the server. I'm going to go back. One of the ways to fix this is the manual fix. By manual fix, I'm going to right click on the page. And here we have to look for the form and change its action. Now, when we submitted the comment, we're redirected to the page, the endpoint that does not exist on the server, which was challenge 2. That tells us challenge 2 is not working. But here we see XSS2, which works. So we are going to try to change the action on the form to XSS2. So you double click on this line and then you can edit this XSS and press enter. Now, when you go back to the form and try to submit it, you check, we were able to successfully post the comment. And this is a manual fix to this, to the problem, to the routing problem. We don't want to manually edit the page every time. So another way to do it is to fix it using burp match and replace. Then that will be automatic. What I'm going to do here is to open Burp Suite. So in the terminal, I'm going to type Burp Suite. And since we need the web page, I'm just going to copy the URL from Firefox, minimize Firefox, and go back to Burp. Now in proxy, I'm going to open the browser, paste the URL, and press enter. So now we are here. And I'll go to HTTP history. So in HTTP history, we see get XSS2. That means that the XSS2 page is working, is the real working page. I'm going to try to post a comment again, maybe as another user. So maybe user 2, maybe hello neighbor. And press enter. We're taken again to post, cannot post challenge 2. Now, if you pay attention here, you see post challenge 2, but we look at the status code, it was an error. That means that the back end does not accept posts to that route. This is just to confirm what we saw earlier on in Firefox. Now, to fix this problem, we are going to use burp match and replace. So instead of editing the HTML page every time, we'll make burp automatically rewrite the request. So in Burp Suite, we're going to go to proxy, which we're already in, and then we go to match and replace. Now we have to add a rule. So add, we see type, comment, match, and replace. So under type, we have to choose request first line. And for match, post challenge 2. Oh, challenge 2. Post challenge post challenge 2. And under replace, post XSS2. And we click OK. You have to make sure that option is ticked over here. So now when the browser sends the wrong request, Burp Suite will silently correct it. Now let's confirm that our change is working. Now we'll go back to the web page and we have our comment, our username user2, and the comment hello neighbor. So let's post the comment. And when you look here, you see post XSS2 here, but this time it's not the 404 status code. 302 found. 302 status code means the server temporarily directed or redirected us to another page. So from challenge 2, it took us to XSS2. Now, if we go back to the browser, we see that our comment has been posted. It appears in the comments list. That means the lab is working properly. Now, to confirm whether the script keyword is filtered, if the filter exists for the script keyword, I'll post a comment that uses the word script. So maybe again as user 2, hello script, and then post comment. Now we see here the word script is blocked. What I typed was hello script, but I see here hello and then blocked. The rest of the comment appears, but the specific word script has been blocked. They are only blocking the keyword script. Now let's check if HTML is rendered or escaped. Again, as user 2, I will post an HTML code like a paragraph. This is a paragraph. And then post. My comment is added to the comment list, but the browser interprets the P tag as real HTML. And that means the site is rendering user supplied HTML. Rendering HTML alone is not automatically a vulnerability, but it tells us that the input is not being safely escaped, and that increases the risk of cross site scripting. So now the key idea is that even if the script word is blocked, JavaScript can execute in other ways, like through using certain HTML tags and event handlers. I will use one of the lab's own hint examples that doesn't contain the word script, uses an event handler to trigger JavaScript, and I'll post that as a comment. So I'll take this line of code, I'll copy this, and I'll post it as my comment as user 2. Now, when we post the comment, we get a pop up. That means JavaScript is being executed or has been executed. Now, to prove that it has been stored, what I'll do is to refresh the page. And every time we refresh the page, the pop up appears again. This confirms that this is stored cross site scripting. The malicious input is saved in the comment system and it executes every time the page is loaded. So, the reason why the protection failed is that the lab tried to stop cross site scripting by blocking only the word script. But cross site scripting is not just a script tag problem. It's about the browser executing an attacker's controlled input. And there are many ways to do that beyond using the tag script or the word script. That's why blacklist filtering is weak. The correct fix would be to use a proper HTML sanitizer if some HTML is allowed, or to output encoding so that a user's input is treated as text and not HTML. That will prevent the browser from executing injected code. So for this lab, we verified the comment storage. We debugged a broken endpoint with Burp Suite. We confirmed the script filter. We tested HTML rendering and demonstrated stored cross-site scripting with persistence. So thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video.